Hello, everyone. I'm Candid Frank Stanishi of News Talk. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google, Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on News Talk, joining me is not Aaron William Freeland, who's in the hospital. He had an appendicitis attack last night, and he went to the hospital to get checked, and he's staying there until they finish operating on him. He probably won't get out till tomorrow, and that's pretty quick, even for today's standards. Stepping in the breach on his behalf is the one and only, our proud owner of Spanglish World, Spanglish Sports World, and everything Spanglish. Eduardo Harari. Eduardo, thanks for sitting in.
I'm glad to sit in with you, Frank. Great personality, great.
Who's working for here? Who's working for who here? Okay. Well, I appreciate that. I truly do. And we always, we started this whole idea because, you had faith in me that I could handle news. And I enjoy doing this, and that's when I brought Aaron in. So we pray and hope that Aaron has a very speedy recovery after the operation and a full recovery. Let's move on to the news. And off the top, there's a fundraising campaign underway, Eduardo, here in Canada, in Cambridge, Port Hope to be exact. An old church in Port Hope was damaged by a fire early Saturday. Now, we're not sure, and it's called the Wesley United Church. We're not sure why the fire happened, but it is suspicious. Eduardo, we live in a world today where, nobody's safe. That's all I'm trying to point out with this article. It isn't just about, for example, my people when they came here, Italians came in after the war, they were mistreated. They were called displaced persons, other names they used which weren't so complimentary. And you, as a Jewish person, you know what you went through. I'm not going to speak on your behalf, but you understand what I'm saying. And now racism has torn through everything. We're so angry and so hateful of each other in this world. It truly is sad, isn't it?
It is. I came to this country because of a great man by the name of Pierre Elliott Trudeau, a guy that opened the doors to diversity, opened the doors to a country that didn't have a prejudice of some sort, and he tried to change the laws of the land. And it is sad to see that we are in the 2020s and that people still hold grudges or hold differences very much in store. And it's time to finish. Those days are over. We live in a society that is a multicultural society, a society that of equality, whether it's race, gender, or anything else. And to me, that's what it should be about.
Absolutely. Well, we hope and pray that they collect enough money and things work out for that church. Not that I'm hoping it wasn't a crime that was committed, only that it was an accident. Just because we have enough stuff to be negative about. This one doesn't attract me much. Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, essentially has called President Biden a liar and being dishonest. Now, this is a story that transcends the news. It goes into Canada, U.S., and of course, because of Major League Baseball. Moving the Atlanta All-Star game out of Georgia because of the legislature there in Georgia, that's the state legislature, passing laws and a law basically how they're going to run their elections moving forward. It's a very complicated process. Eduardo, you were in politics. You know that when you have a laundry list, when you have a bill that's passed that's fairly long, right? Both sides can pick and choose out of that whole thing what they see as fair, unfair, wrong, whatever. Do you think it was necessary? And now Coca-Cola, different airlines that are headquartered in Georgia are now saying the same thing. Do you think we're going too far here with politics being assailed by baseball corporations, or is that something that you see necessary and isn't a permanent thing or whatever?
Look, like I think what happened in the state of Georgia is something that should not happen. And let's remember that it was the governor of Georgia and the state attorney for the state of Georgia that during the past election in the U.S. that stood their ground and said that they will not be put in jeopardy an election because the former president was telling them to suppress millions of votes in order for him to win. And now they come back after the election and now they are trying to suppress it. That's absolutely disgusting in a certain way. And I am, in regards to Major League Baseball, taking the All-Star game and the draft out of the state of Georgia as a not retaliation, because it's not retaliation. The last time I remember, any corporation can dictate their own laws. Any corporation can decide to do what they want to do with their business the way they want to run it. Major League Baseball, and I am going to go now and speak to the ownership of the Atlanta Braves, who came out and made a statement, very erroneous statement, that they didn't realize anything about what was happening, because before the commissioner of baseball, Mr. Manfred, can take a decision of this sort, it has to go through the board of governors, in which the ownership of every single team sits. So he knew what was going on because he was on the conference call, most likely.
So he can't be surprised.
Correct. There is no surprise there. He was on the call. There was a vote that was taken. The vote was 31-1, majority rules.
Right.
From the other side, not just that the owners voted in favor of it, but that after the owners voted, now it goes to the Players Association for the representatives from each team, the player representatives from each team, to sit down and analyze the decision as well. And then that goes back to the commissioner and saying, okay, now we are united in one idea. Now you can make your statement. So it wasn't a decision that was taken lightly. And if Major League Baseball decides, they are a business, they are an entity with a corporation that can take decisions that whether they want to do. That it affects the city of Atlanta? Yes, it does. But they stood their ground and saying that the right to democracy is what they want. And
absolutely.
Nothing else they can say.
It's to me it's a question of if Major League Baseball's the dog and the Players Association is the tail and the fans are the bone, in this situation we're all getting crapped on. It's just that simple, because it really doesn't look good. It really is something that I Eduardo am a person who comes from the left, but I'm beginning to see that our world is so quick to judge. There doesn't seem to be a time for us to consider. When you now, is it because I'm being brainwashed because I watch all the news? I don't watch just CNN. I don't watch just Fox. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't just watch ABC. I don't just watch Global. I don't just watch CTV. I watch them all. And what I'm getting overall, what concerns me, Eduardo, what concerns me deeply is that on balance, is what Major League Baseball doing for the reasons that it's doing it right? Are they just reacting because the President Biden, says this is a good idea, shame on them? Then we have to keep moving forward with this kind of thinking and ask ourselves, what about the Olympics in China? Is what's going on in China any better or any worse than what's going on in Georgia? Will President Joe Biden say, let's get out of the Olympics, let's do this, let's kick, whatever. What bothers me is simply that it's not that we're all involved in politics, because I think we all have a responsibility to be active in the sense of understanding politics, diagnosing it, reading it, understanding it, and then deal with it then. I just don't think anybody's had enough time to show what's in that bill in total, not just pick and choose out of it. I'll give you an example. Now, this is, again, I'm playing the devil's advocate here. When they talk about not giving water and food to people in line, they're not talking about not letting them have it. They're talking about them not having that used for someone to electioneer. In other words, I come with a bottle of water while you're in line and I say, one last shot, listen, you got to vote for this guy, this gal, you got to vote for this person. This is why. Well, it's against the law in every state. You're not allowed to electioneer on the last day or within, I think they say it's 150 feet of the voting booth. So at the end of the day here, I'm not 100% sure whether it's a good idea, not because I'm saying it isn't, but because I'm not sure it isn't, because it seems such a quick decision. And one thing I know about quick decisions, sometimes you end up being wrong because you really don't look into it. So I'm not suggesting it's wrong. I'm just saying it's possible. And until we really know what's in the bill and until we add up everything, we really won't know. I'll leave the last word on you, the last couple of seconds, and reply to what I just said.
So I agree with you totally. I mean, it's the idea that they are not showing the complete story as a whole. It's wrong. They have to allow the public to make their own concise decision.
Information-based.
Correct.
Information-based decision.
is whatever is the same thing that when we say when there is a scientific proof, let's tell us why things are the way they are.
Absolutely.
In this case, I think that they have stretched the significance of what they are doing, and you cannot do this. You have to
absolutely.
And just want to close by saying that the Atlanta Braves have harmed themselves more than they have benefited themselves, because now the public will say, you are not with us, you are with them. And and that's a quick decision that the public will take in not going through turnstiles in
well, I don't disagree with you. At the end of the day, people find different reasons to vote for or against somebody, and it comes down to a personal decision. A person that was going to get a contract from the Braves for the All-Star game that loses that job or that perspective of making money, they are personally going to take it against the Democrats. George Floyd, today, won't spend long on this. I think it's just important to note. The biggest thing I noticed from the trial is that the ER doctor that took him in testified that he was basically asphyxiated, which means he was choked, blood stopped going, his heart stopped pumping blood to make air. And then the defense talked about the two drugs that were in his system and would they stop somebody from breathing? And the answer was yes. So today that was kind of a soft. Here's a non-surprise issue. Donald Trump's campaign is being accused by its donors of them taking money without their permission, misleading them. In other words, they said, "Will you support us? Give us $10." They just didn't say how long the $10 was coming out of their account. I mean, that's a pretty shady business, Eduardo. Does it ever end with this guy, or am I seeing this guy as being criminal-like, or do you see something really heinous about this guy and the way he does business, literally?
Well, let's put it this way. 4 years ago, I was saying, how can you allow a man like to run? And we'll go back to the scandal with Trump University, in which the U.S. government gave him $500 million to open a university, which never came to happen. Where the money went, nobody knows. But now here you go again. Trump is Trump, and he will say whatever he can do to escape, and he will hire the best defense team that he has to protect himself from being liable.
And by causing delay after delay after delay after delay after delay, that is the main tactic that he has. It's all about staying in court, being in court long term, whatever. But that case that's coming up where the two Capitol officers are suing him, and because it's not in criminal court, they can actually have Trump testify. I suggest that probably Trump will give these guys some money, and they're not asking for much, $75,000 to be exact. Meghan McCain is asking Gates, the representative of Florida, to resign. The roles were reversed a little while ago, Eduardo, and now it seems she wants him to resign. This is a guy who's in deep trouble based on basically dating a 17-year-old. It boggles the mind. And then this guy does stuff like supposedly on the floor of the Congress showing pictures of naked conquests. I mean, we're as human beings, we're kind of weird. We have our weird side, and this, I think, fits into the weird side.
There is something to be said for Republican Congress people. They never seem to be able to get out of the hot water.
No kidding. Never. Because the next story is because of CDC guidance suggesting industry is closer to setting sail, that being the cruise ship industry, their stocks are on the rise. Eduardo, is that not a welcome? Not that I'm a cruise person, not that I like going on cruises. I don't know if you are, but that's one of the first places we really understood where the pandemic took. It was where it all started for me anyway, not being knowledgeable about it. In fact, my girlfriend's uncle was on the ship that was being held in port in California, in San Francisco, not allowed to deboard or to leave, and then ended up having planes come from Canada to bring them back to Ontario and then Quebec. Does this mean this is a good sign that maybe the pandemic, even though it's not gone, it's going?
I don't think so. I think that is, and I hate to say that the CDC is rushing their decision, but if we are saying that you cannot come through air or land, what's the difference with the sea? You are making stops at a port of call. People are going down. How can you guarantee that when you go down on that cruise ship, from that cruise into the land port, that they are not going to obtain the illness? Two, if it's a 1 week or a week and a 10-day cruise, they cannot be quarantined when they come back to Canada or anywhere. So where is the sense of this new guideline? There is no reason.
to help pile on for you, most of the places that cruise ships go to are not on the top list of rollout for vaccine. They're kind of lagging behind the places that those people go to. That most cruise ships go. They go to basically beautiful country, beautiful water, beautiful beaches, but they're not exactly up on the vaccine. The vaccine's not moving as fast where they are. So you have that other issue. So I kind of agree with you. It does seem kind of a weird thing. Moving on to entertainment, DMX overdosed on the weekend, ended up in a vegetative state, and there's a lot of talk that he isn't going to get any better. Drugs do a lot of damage, Eduardo, and it seems it doesn't matter how much money you have. In fact, in some ways, the more money you have, the more susceptible you are to this kind of event. We've seen it too many times.
Definitely. I mean, if you look at the entertainment industry, you have seen a lot of cases. Let's go back to the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. He was
Absolutely.
One of the greatest losses in the entertainment industry, and it was because he wasn't advised properly. He wasn't controlled properly by his management. In the case of DMX as well, where does the responsibility lie? You have a management team that manages that celebrity. Are they not responsible for what he inhales or what he does?
Absolutely.
Who's going to repay that to the artist's family?
Okay, let me speed through here. Rihanna is attending the Stop Asian Hate March in New York. Good for her. COVID-19 is the variant situation that's in British Columbia is frightening, to say the least. Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa medical officers call for a province-wide stay-at-home order. Doctors are really concerned. Moderna, the vaccine is getting some delays. That's not good news. Walgreens is not following the guidance on the Pfizer vaccine spacing. In other words, they're not making the second shot. They're not putting in people's arms at the scheduled amount of time. They're kind of doing it on their own kind of schedule. Internationally, we have a lot of interest in, we were talking, I wanted to get to this one, on passports, vaccine passports. The first country to actually do that is in the UK. The UK will be doing that. They're looking into vaccine passports. Very quickly, in a few seconds, Eduardo, your opinion on vaccine passports.
I totally agree with you. You want to make sure that the person that is traveling to your country is scot-free.
Absolutely.
You cannot guarantee that 100%, but if there is a vaccine passport, it's at least an assurance that he has been tested, that he has been going through the process.
Absolutely. On Saturdays at 6, we do Maple Leaf Talk, and of course that's with Aaron William Freeland. And we had a special guest, Jared Bapty. The Leafs beat Calgary last night 4-2. They play again tonight. We have CFL Talk on Mondays at 1 p.m. The Combine and the Draft are taking place, and a wonderful thing happened. Veteran running back C.J. Gable signed with the Ticats so he could retire where he played his best football, in Hamilton. NLL Lacrosse Talk on Thursdays at 4 p.m. I want to remind people that Scott Dominey will be on. He played for the Toronto Rock. And, of course, Andrescu to miss Canada's Billie Jean Cup and with a foot injury. It's not serious, but it did happen. Another one, an article that you should look up, folks. Young striker Jordan Peruzza is enjoying rubbing shoulders with Toronto FC because he was called up to the first team. And I know you like soccer. A few seconds on that one, on the youth moving up, something TFC could use.
Oh, guaranteed. TFC will need all the help they can get this time around. And the youth moving up, that's amazing.
Raptors playing in Florida, and I wanted to get to baseball because I know how much you love baseball. We talked about the All-Star game being moved. The Jays took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees in New York. In New York. And they're leading. Well, last time I looked, they were leading Texas 6-1 in the season opener in the 6th. After this 3-game series, they'll be moving on to, as we said, the Rangers. They'll be moving on there. So it'll be really interesting, I think. And Cambridge, Ontario girl won a big Augusta National golf competition. Her name's Alexis Card of Cambridge, Ontario. She made her mark in the golf world. She also trains at the Galt Country Club. She won the drive, chip, and putt competition for girls between the ages of 7 and 9 at Augusta National in Augusta, Georgia. We mentioned Georgia today. Stanford holds off Arizona 54-53 to win the women's NCAA basketball title. In conclusion, Eduardo, do you have anything to add in conclusion?
I